Peace and salutations. My name is Michael J. Turner. I am the Southwest Shaman, the Earl of Arizona, and you are now shining with the Arizona sun. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here, which is wherever you're at. Coming with love from Arizona. This is StereoPHiX 888. This channel is about abstract personal development, and it's all about what's working for me, changing my vibration and frequency. And I can't save you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to share with you how I'm saving myself. Okay? With this message right now, I'm going to talk about a number of things, but essentially all I'm trying to give you is the proofs of my life and how these things have actually worked to change my life. Because if you're not experiencing any type of actual significant change or influence, maybe, or from the spirituality that you take part in, it's, what are we doing, right? I just know that my life has been revitalized and changed, and I've been given the ability to just actually live. Because my vibration was so low for so long, I didn't realize it was my own beliefs, but it was so much more. You know, I look at it like the veil has been slowly removed, but I was definitely under the assumption of so many things in my past. And you know, these messages I give you are, like I said, it's about abstract personal development, and I call it that because each person's development is unique from each other's. As in, what it took me to get here, maybe it took a lot more than it might take you. Maybe you might be able to get just a few things from what I'm talking about. I know I have to tell my story. You know, I know that I have to broadcast this to y'all. And there's so many things I want to talk about. But I took some notes here in my studies, because one of the things I do that has allowed me to change my vibration has been studying light. Because what is until I understand something, or even at least have a name for it, a definition for it, it's essentially in the darkness and I can't even see it. So I'm studying light because I'm casting light upon things so I can now perceive and understand. This is a piece of information I picked up a while ago. If you're familiar with King Solomon from the scripture, of course there's the personified version that someone could come to understand, but there is so much more to King Solomon. The name in itself, broken down with the etymology: Sol, meaning sun, and Mon, as in the moon. Okay, so the temple of Solomon is the temple of the soul, the sun and the moon, or the soul and the mind, even, because the sun is essentially what we are dependent on to live here. Okay, now I'm gonna go a little deeper, because the temple, from my understanding now, is us. I am the temple of the sun and the moon, of the soul and the mind. The moon represents the mind. Damn, okay, so the information has always been right there. You know, King Solomon. I am King Solomon. Not to say that there wasn't historically, but see, the word is a guidebook in so many different forms. Historically, astrologically, and it's even a guidebook for my own biology, right? Because we're talking about the temple here. This is the temple, right? Of the soul and the mind. Because my mind is not my brain. They're two different things. My brain is not my mind. Okay? What I've been led to discover, these pieces of information that I've been led to discover, have allowed me to sync up with my intuition, my higher self, and the synchronicities of this experience. And I've come to realize that we truly are the observer. Like, I am neither this voice, this body, nor this mind, but I am the observer. I am part of, and I come from the ultimate observer, the Most High. God, I mean, that's for lack of a better term to describe that. Becoming flesh and blood is a privilege. However, one could spend their entire life never coming to self-awareness and perpetually being controlled by the emotions that are meant to be used to energize and manifest and to be experienced, not to be dominated by. A wise man is the same in pleasure and pain. And what is the main thing that becomes stifled after being an extreme youth? I'm talking, it could be killed early on. What is that? What is that? What is that thing? Imagination. Can you remember, like I can, being a very, and this was just triggered in me this morning, but to recall being very young and being able to imagine things so vividly that I could see them in front of me. And doing this with friends too. When we did that, did we join each other's constructs, or did we still live in our own world on the same planet, if you follow me? Well, this is what the 3D destroys as the ego takes over to protect us, as we establish this thing so we can move when, and what's crazy is, what's necessary is to come to a full self-awareness of it, so I can realize that I'm not that. Actually, I could be anything I want to be. So this cycle of life that takes place, it's like starting out so defenseless but pure, and then changing into something that, from my experience, was absolutely a descent into hell. Check this out. What do you call the bottom of your feet? It's called your soul. And what is also at the, what else is down there? Your heel at the bottom. Heel or hell. Everything is a reflection. We are the micro of the macro, and all things exist within the mind, which is not constrained by time. One of the illusions of this existence, right? See, if there's a few things that definitely kept me in a false sense, a false belief, right? Time and polarity are actually only illusions of this three-dimensional existence, because in actuality, hot and cold are only degrees of the same thing, as in alive and dead, night and day. They're all still part of the same thing. And then within the mind, there are no limitations of time or space. Here's the greatest thing, man. The seeds of me finding my highest self were planted, always were planted. The thing is it took the right conditions for me to start to realize this, to start to for the seed to start growing. Like, it took a lot of conditions, right? It had to be a lot of data. It had to be a numbers thing. It had to be everything. But as I go forward, what I've realized is that I am in control of my experience at all times, based on my perception, the lens I look through. And the more that I practice this, and the less energy and power I give to the negativity, the more it comes out in the ripple. That's like refer to it as the outcome of the numbers that I put in. Essentially, like, my intuition will lead me based upon the way I view things. So it's all about giving the power to myself and my self-worth, realizing my self-worth and placing that at the highest, and making decisions based on that, as well as making decisions based upon the version of me I want to be. Like, I don't need to be concerned about how it happens. All I need to be concerned about is knowing, a delusional level of knowing. Armed with these things, now I can just go forward and have fun with every situation. But I have to call myself back to this space, you know, every morning, basically. But as time goes, see, here's the beautiful thing: is it literally becomes part of my my essence, you know. I just am so grateful and enthusiastic to be where I'm at. And I understand now that abundance is all around me, and I have more than enough. I have more than enough in all situations. Okay? My life as of recent, I have recognized absolutely that the universe is testing me and checking me to make sure that this is the frequency I'm going to stay on. See, I'm adopting the perspective of all things are working for me, my problems are actually solutions. I'm excited for them. There is nothing that I can't respond to with as good. Yo, this is that is happening? Good. Those are the main things that I wanted to talk about right now. Protect your temple. Protect your energy. And respond, don't react. Those are things I am reminding myself for. These are not me telling you what to do. Essentially, this process of me making these videos has always been a therapeutic thing. As like I described in my opening statements, this is a channel about abstract personal development. So it's not conventional by any means, but this is me practicing the methods that have saved my life. And if you wish, if you're going through similar things that I've gone through, or going through whatever, you can find the help right here. But to describe it a little further, I have an entire detailed plan of therapy that I'm designing that's nearly complete, called Abstract Personal Development. Yes, and I am the SouthWst Shaman, Michael J. Turner. Like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing videos about these methods that I have essentially identified over time and documented as they have arose, as they came up to me, and said in my mind while experiencing them, and said, oh, this is something that needs to be put in this. This is something that isn't emphasized enough within the normal rooms of therapy, rehab, whatever. I'm talking mental health, addiction. Anybody and everybody could use this. Okay, so these are steps and varieties of therapy that I have identified through my own personal experience and studies as the most effective ways for a person to change. Because I was and am someone who spent 5 years in the penitentiary, spent 15 plus years in the pursuit of narcotics and hard drugs. I was shot in the face. I mean, there's a number of things. The list goes on, of course, but I say those things now because I realize that they happened for me, not to me, to allow me to become the alchemist that I am, the SouthWst Shaman. So those experiences and many more, led me to design this thing that is very detailed and addresses everything that, or not every, addresses all the parts of the human. It addresses all the things that you would need to address, essentially, and includes all the methods that I have found to be the most effective. Yeah, I've gone to a lot of I've gone through. I once went to treatment for 6 months. I once went to rehab for 6 months. I've gone to many AA meetings, many all that stuff. Therapists, different forms. So yeah, what I'm giving you is the sauce. So stay tuned, rock with your boy. let the vibes talk, and let's make magic, yo. Till next time. Alright.